Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. I don't remember exactly who this XL-12 is for. I know the name on the box isn't the person I was conversing with, but I just got into it, and there's enough goofball stuff going on that I wanted to show you guys before I got too far into it. First place, it's rolling over rough. The flywheel is dragging. Shouldn't be doing that. The reason, well, one of the reasons that it's dragging, see this screw? How that head is all cocked? I'm putting the screwdriver under the head right there. It's all cocked at a janky angle, which means the magnets are flexing this plate. Now, I'm honestly afraid of what I'm going to find under here. That's good, I think. If this is the right coil plate, somebody missed the screw hole entirely and it was threaded down into a cylinder fin, which means the timing would have been all jacked up on this thing. There's some slot adjustment under the flywheel, but that's one problem. Hopefully that's the only reason these are touching. I'm hoping that this is the right coil plate and someone didn't try and scab something from a pull-in or something on here. But anyway, this janky mess, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. Now, I don't know what the hell happened here, but there should be a connection. This coil doesn't belong on this saw. Should have been a T connection underneath here, where this lead coming from the points, this yellow one, would have connected underneath, and then the kill switch wire would have connected underneath. And then the only thing up top here should have been a ground. Well, I see some bare wire and then some other copper wire here. And I don't know why. That's not anything Homelite would have done. That much I know for a fact. So you come to something like this and you go, what the heck are we going to do? There's a possibility that some of this was touching somewhere else, but it's hard to test with the way that's hitting. Guess we can give it a shot. Let me zoom this back out as wide. There we go. That's as good as it'll get. I'm going to find my tester and see if aim it up at you guys. Spark plug wire is resisting. That might do it. We know it's not touching anything at the moment. Try and spin this over, and I'll try and hold that coil back. Come on. Alright, there ain't nothing happening there. So this thing's going to come apart. That coil's going to get replaced with a Homelite coil that has the proper connections. Repair the wiring. If the points and condenser even remotely look suspect, they will get replaced. And then we'll move on to find out what else it might need. It's a fairly clean saw. Has the stack muffler. I'd say this cover's not original to it, but that's okay, doesn't matter. Obviously it's going to need a fuel hose. That attempt that somebody made probably worked up to a point, but we can do better. We'll get a grommet in there and use the right size hose, and maybe some of that silicone trash can be peeled off, I'm not sure. But This is one of those cases where I've had a lot of guys email and say, hey, I just got a saw, blah blah, where do I start? And so I started with this one by trying to pull it over, and I heard the grinding. I went, well, that's not cool. But because it only ground at one spot, I had a suspicion of something like this. Rat's nest of wires, I had no idea. But the no spark made perfect sense, because I pulled it over a couple times before pulling the starter off, just to see if it had spark. So that's where I like to start. Identify the most obvious thing that's wrong, and in this case it's the ignition, so that's where I'm going to start. Okay, let's do a final test run on Ted's XL-12. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So this saw had some little surprises lurking. There was a lot of stuff that was loose that shouldn't be. I mean, we looked at that coil bracket earlier that was misaligned. The other thing that had happened was this was assembled without a lock washer on the flywheel nut. And while it didn't destroy the crankshaft or the flywheel, it wouldn't have taken long for it to do that. So once that was all cinched down properly, coil was indexed properly, I had a good used coil, a Weco coil that I put on there. That got sparked back where it was supposed to be. Routed the wires properly. There were just things that weren't quite right on this saw. One thing Ted had noted was there was some carbon buildup in the exhaust port. It actually wasn't bad, but since I was right here, went ahead and cleaned out what was there. And the reason I say it wasn't bad is I was scraping off maybe a 32nd, wasn't quite a 16th, just all around the port. That's probably pretty normal for a saw this age. I've seen where the port in the cylinder head is, a third closed off with carbon buildup. That's bad. That's where you can run into some serious performance issues. But I'm pretty happy with this. Everything is in good order. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the fuel, get this thing... Well, yeah, and thanks for talking right over the top of me. Just hold on a second. So I'm going to go ahead and get this drained and air it out for a few days, and we'll get it boxed up, and Ted, you're going to have an XL-12 heading your way.